Hello and welcome to the Invader Historical Foundation YouTube channel. I'm Jonathan Claiborne. This episode is going to be a tale of two planes. There have been several pictures going around the internet and several sites and sources that show Old Nan as being made in USA. There are photo sets that make the assumption that this is true. And to be fair, I only just discovered that this was not the case last night. This discovery came about from analyzing the 13th Bomb Squadron's historical photo archive. Just looking at the period from 1946 to 1954, there are more than 2,400 photos in this collection. The entire set has never been grouped into a single collection, sorted, renamed, and forensically analyzed until now. Even the 13th photos label the nose art for Made in USA as belonging to Nan, so it's an easy mistake to forgive. But as I've been learning, photo captions are the single biggest source of errors in any document type. Among the 13th photos are some taken by renowned bridge buster Charles Bartels. They're nice, high-quality photos. Among them are these images, which are labeled Bartels, B-26 Nan, 4434372, 1950. Bartels, B-26 Nan, Made in USA, 1950. Bartels, Oscar on Nan. And Bartels, Nose Art on Nan, Made in USA. And looking at this third photo, we can see an important forensic clue. This metal patch here on the nose, right between the third and fourth row of guns. When we switch to this view of Made in USA's nose art, we can see the same patch on the far left edge. So this confirms that the image of Oscar on the nose and the picture of Made in USA definitely belong on the same nose. But then I came across these images taken by Lieutenant Harry Galpin. The first image shows nose art for Made in USA complete on a plane in flight during a mission. It's clearly and obviously the same nose art as in Bartel's photos. If all things are correct, then this should be Nan. But when we look at the second image of Made in USA, we see the full plane, the serial number 4434297, which is not Nan. Tail letter is obfuscated, but I know from cross-referencing the 13th master plane list that this plane was recorded as Jigtail, or the letter J. So now we are left with a problem. Charles Bartel was with the 13th Bomb Squadron during 1950. Harry Galpin was with the 13th from 1950 to 1951, so both men were there at the same time. Nan, 4434372, was assigned to the 13th Bomb Squadron on the 4th of July, 1945, and had been assigned as Nantel from the very beginning. She remained with the unit and was written off after an accident on the 5th of January, 1952. Jigtail, 4434297, was assigned to the 13th Bomb Squadron on the 5th of July, 1945. She was originally Yoketail, letter Y, and she remained in the unit until she was shot down on a mission the 21st of February, 1951. So both Bartels and Galpin, and both Nantel and Jigtail were present on the base at the same time. This is definitely not a situation of two different planes with the same nose art at different periods of time. Now we are left with two possibilities. Either both planes had identical nose art, or else one of the planes is an error. Let's go back and look at the photos again. None of the earlier photos of Nan show her wearing any nose art except for this prominent Oscar in March of 1949. One of the earlier photos of Jig shows her wearing some kind of nose art in February 1948, but it's too poor quality to make out. Some units, like the 12th Bomb Group, all painted similar nose jobs on their planes. In the case of the 12th, it was tiger faces. But they're all distinct and forensically unique. No other planes in the 13th show this paint job, but could it be a copycat case? We do know of several instances where the same girl was painted on multiple planes. And this is because they all borrowed from the same inspirational material, an Esquire calendar. In comparing the noses side by side, we notice something immediately. Not only are these ladies painted on the nose in exactly the same position and angle, upon closer examination, it's clear that these noses are in fact identical. For example, take a look at the paint chipping here in Bartel's photos. We can see 3 round flakes, and in Galpin's photos, we can see the same 3 round flakes. While you might be able to duplicate a painting on another nose, you could not duplicate the wear pattern so precisely. Now we know for certain that these are the same noses, so there's 2 possibilities. Either they completely removed the nose from Jig with the nose art and put it on Nan, or the photo captions are wrong. While it was somewhat commonplace to swap noses on planes during the Korean War, it wasn't something that happened every day, and it was unheard of to move nose art from one plane to a different plane. Naming a plane is a serious ordeal with a great sense of tradition. It would be like suddenly giving your younger child the oldest child's name. It just wasn't done. Planes could be given new names themselves, but names were never transferred between planes. Knowing that history and ceremony, it seems very unlikely that a nose swap happened. But let's look at that forensically as well. Going back to the photos, all of these are from Charles Bartels. The patch on the nose of Maiden USA helps us to identify which photo is on the other side of her. So this Oscar is Maiden's. And here we have a photograph of Nan with her Oscar. When we compare the noses and put them side by side, we see some immediate differences. For one, the wear pattern on the nose is obviously and visibly different. But maybe they repainted the wear and it wore differently the second time. Let's evaluate that hypothesis by looking at the Oscars themselves. These paintings are intricate, time-consuming paint jobs. They didn't just repaint them on a whim, and they didn't repaint them very often. Even the smaller versions of Oscar that were used in 1952 were applied by stencil, and that still took quite a long time to do. There are many pictures of planes with half-finished states of Oscar. So let's look at these Oscars. They also appear to be done by stencil, as they're nearly identical in shape and detail. Nan's Oscar has red eyes, and Maiden's Oscar does not, but that's a trivial detail. There's also 2 holes here in the red border of Maiden's Oscar, which are not present on Nan's Oscar. Then there's the air vent here. On Maiden's Oscar, the vent is placed well above the knee, but on Nan's Oscar, the vent is in line with the knee. This means that the stencils were physically painted on at different heights. While it's possible they could have been moved if the nose was repainted, as we discussed, this is a complicated process. And if they repainted the nose, then the Maiden herself would have been covered as well, which doesn't seem to be the case. Going back to the air vent on Maiden's Oscar is a thin, tall vent located completely within the blue field. On Nan's Oscar, this vent is longer and extends well past the red border. This detail right here is proof that they did not just swap the noses and put Jig's nose on Nan. So based on the fact that we have a complete profile shot of Jig wearing Maiden USA nose art, and based on the fact that the Oscars are different and the noses are different, could not have been simply swapped. We must therefore conclude that Nan is not made in USA and never was, and that the basis of these claims seems to be from this misattribution of the Oscar image to Nan, which we now know to be incorrect. There are no pictures that I have in my collection that shows what the nose art for Nan was, so that's still unknown. But if you want to make a model of Made in USA, then you'll need the letter J for the tail and serial number 4434297. That's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed this in-depth dive into Made in USA's real identity. Thanks for watching.